researchers survey and measure the monolithic stones and H-blocks scattered around the archaeological site of Puma Punku, hoping to solve the mystery of what these structures were used for and why.
For years, Puma Punku has been called impossible. Stones cut so clean they look machine-made. Blocks so heavy they shouldn't exist where they stand. Most people jumped to the same answer: aliens, advanced beings, lost visitors from the sky. But in 2025, that story collapsed. And the new truth is far more disturbing, because this time, the mystery wasn't touched by conspiracy hunters or internet theories. It was examined by AI systems trained to see patterns humans miss. Algorithms that don't believe in myths. Systems that only follow data. And what they uncovered didn't point to visitors from space. It pointed somewhere much closer, somewhere uncomfortable. The question was never just how Puma Punku was built.
It was believed to have been constructed between 100 AD and 900 AD. But there's a much deeper story to it than that. It could be thousands of years older.
The deeper problem was why. Why would an ancient society push materials, geometry, and planning to such extremes? Why design stone in ways that even modern engineers struggle to explain? AI didn't just recheck measurements, it rewrote timelines. It connected details that were never meant to stand alone. And once those pieces lined up, the site stopped looking like a marvel and started looking like a warning. This isn't a story about aliens being wrong. It's about humans being capable of far more than we're ready to accept. Stay with us, because what AI revealed about Puma Punku changes everything we thought we knew, and the full truth is waiting ahead. Puma Punku was never meant to look broken. At first glance, Puma Punku feels like chaos frozen in time. Huge stone blocks sit scattered across a windswept plateau in Bolivia, far from any forest or quarry that could explain their presence. Some stones weigh more than a modern truck, yet they lie separated, tilted, or half buried in the ground. The edges are sharp, not worn down as you would expect after centuries of weather. Flat surfaces still meet the air as if they were shaped yesterday. And then there are the strange H-shaped blocks resting apart from each other as if the builders suddenly stopped and never came back.
Bolivia. What you have here are massive blocks of granite scattered like some kids' toy blocks around the site. It's like some giant cataclysm just wiped out this entire area. Archaeologists are baffled.
For many years, this broken look shaped how the world understood Puma Punku. The common belief was simple. Time had done its damage. Earthquakes shook the land. People reused stones. Nature and neglect slowly turned a once great structure into a pile of ruins. That explanation felt reasonable, and no one questioned it too deeply. After all, ruins are supposed to look ruined. But when AI tools were introduced into the study of Puma Punku, that comfortable story began to fall apart. Researchers used drone scans and satellite images to capture the site from above, feeding thousands of data points into pattern recognition systems. These systems were not looking for legends or symbols. They searched for spacing, repetition, and alignment. Almost immediately, something strange appeared. The stones were not scattered in random ways. Gaps between blocks are repeated across different areas. Angles lined up even when the stones were far apart. Some blocks, though separated by meters, still followed the same directional rules. This raised a disturbing idea. What if Puma Punku didn't collapse? What if it were dismantled? AI-assisted reconstruction pushed this idea even further. When the stones were digitally placed back into positions that matched their shapes, cuts, and angles, a clear structure emerged. Platforms are layered in a specific order, entry paths that narrowed as they moved inward, spaces that controlled movement rather than inviting it. Certain blocks only fit in one exact place, almost like parts of a locked mechanism that could not be assembled incorrectly. That discovery changed the question completely. Instead of asking how the site was destroyed, researchers began asking why it was taken apart. History gives us many examples of cities left behind due to drought, war, or trade collapse. But deliberate deconstruction is rare. When it does happen, it usually means fear. It suggests danger. Sometimes it points to knowledge that was considered too powerful, too risky, or too sacred to remain standing. The AI did not provide names, dates, or motives. It did not claim an enemy or a disaster. It simply revealed a pattern that humans had missed for generations. Puma Punku's broken state may not be the result of failure or time. It may be the final stage of its purpose. And if that is true, then the ruins we see today are not the end of the story. They are the last message left behind, carefully scattered, yet never truly erased. AI found patterns. Humans missed for generations. Human eyes look for meaning in familiar ways. We search for shapes we already recognize, patterns we've been trained to see. When something doesn't fit those expectations, we often ignore it or explain it away. Artificial intelligence works differently. It doesn't care about tradition, belief, or comfort. It looks for repetition, numbers, and relationships hidden beneath the surface. When scientists applied machine learning tools to Puma Punku's stone blocks, the results were not dramatic at first. There were no glowing symbols or sudden answers. Instead, the AI began quietly pointing out details that had been overlooked for decades. Tiny marks across stone surfaces started to line up. The same spacing appeared again and again. The same depth showed up on blocks made from completely different types of stone. The same angles repeated across areas that were never thought to be connected. These marks were not artistic. They were not decorations. And they were not accidental. Analysis revealed that these features worked together as part of a larger system. The stones were shaped in ways that allowed them to manage pressure. They were designed to shift slightly under stress, then return to position. In simple terms, the stones were not meant to stay rigid. They were meant to respond to force. This finding changed how researchers viewed the entire site. Puma Punku is located in a region where earthquakes are common. The ground beneath it has been unstable for thousands of years. A random pile of heavy stones would not survive long under those conditions. Over time, gravity and movement would tear it apart. Yet parts of Puma Punku remained sharp, aligned, and structurally sound. To test this, scientists used AI-driven simulations to recreate the original structure. They introduced virtual earthquake forces based on real geological data. What happened next surprised everyone. Instead of collapsing, the structure absorbed the movement. Certain sections shifted slightly. Stress traveled along planned paths. Then, once the movement stopped, the structure settled back into place. This kind of behavior doesn't happen by chance. It requires planning, testing, and a deep understanding of how materials react under pressure. It suggests the builders were not only aware of earthquakes, but also prepared for them. The AI also identified something even more unexpected: intentional imbalance. Some areas of the structure were designed to be weaker than others. At first, this looked like a mistake. But when pressure increased in the simulations, these weaker zones failed first, releasing stress and protecting the core of the structure. This is known today as controlled failure. Modern engineers use the same idea when designing bridges and tall buildings. Certain parts are meant to absorb damage, so the whole system survives. Seeing this principle at Puma Punku raised uncomfortable questions. This wasn't simple stone stacking. It wasn't trial and error. It was a calculated design. Even more unsettling is what this level of planning suggests. The builders expected serious natural forces. They didn't just react to their environment. They anticipated it. They planned for events that may not have happened during their own lifetimes. That kind of thinking points to long-term knowledge passed across generations. AI didn't prove that these people had modern science, but it showed they understood forces we often assume only modern societies could grasp. They built with awareness of risk, failure, and survival. And when a civilization plans for forces that strong, it raises a final question that AI cannot answer. Were they only preparing for nature, or were they preparing for something else as well? The stones weren't just carved, they were created. One of the most shocking discoveries about Puma Punku didn't come from looking at shapes or angles. It didn't come from counting the blocks or measuring their weight. Instead, it came from the chemistry hidden deep inside the stones. AI-assisted lab testing revealed something that no human eye could see. Organic traces were embedded within some of the blocks, not just on the surface, but deep inside, where nature normally doesn't leave anything behind. These weren't random impurities. They were consistently found, pointing to materials linked to plant compounds and alkaline mixtures. Ordinary stone formed through volcanic processes or natural sedimentation shouldn't have these chemicals. Yet Puma Punku's blocks did. The AI didn't stop there. It compared these chemical patterns with known geopolymers, early human-made stone mixtures used in ancient construction. The results were startling. The match wasn't exact, but it was close enough to raise serious questions. This suggests a radical possibility. Some of the massive blocks at Puma Punku weren't carved out of natural rock at all. They were cast by human hands. This revelation changes everything we thought we knew. Carving stone can create smooth surfaces and straight lines, but it is difficult to produce perfectly repeatable shapes, sharp internal angles, and modular designs. Casting, on the other hand, allows control. It makes precision possible. Blocks can be designed to fit together in exact ways, which explains the famous H-shaped stones and other interlocking pieces scattered across the site. For decades, local traditions spoke of plant mixtures that could soften earth or rock materials. Scholars dismissed these tales as folklore, unscientific stories passed down by imaginative elders. But the AI didn't dismiss them. Instead, it tested the theory. The lab data confirmed that compounds found in plants could have interacted with natural minerals to create a binder strong enough to produce solid stone-like blocks. In other words, the legends might have been true, just misunderstood or forgotten over time. The quiet, unsettling conclusion shook researchers. Ancient builders may have understood material science in ways that later cultures completely lost. They possessed knowledge sophisticated enough to cast enormous blocks that fit with astonishing precision. And then, over generations, that knowledge disappeared. It didn't evolve. It vanished. This idea is hard to digest. Modern history usually assumes humans gradually improve their skills. We invent tools, refine techniques, and pass knowledge forward. But here, at Puma Punku, it looks like progress moved backward. The builders achieved something extraordinary, only for later generations to forget it. The AI doesn't have all the answers, it can't tell us why. But the patterns are clear. When a society loses critical skills instead of gaining them, it leaves gaps that make historians uneasy. Questions start to multiply. How did they discover these techniques? Was it trial and error over centuries, or did they inherit knowledge from even older civilizations? Why did such sophisticated methods vanish without leaving behind any written records, any instructions, any hint for future generations? The implications are chilling. This wasn't just about architecture or construction. This was about a society capable of manipulating raw materials on a chemical level, understanding the behavior of minerals, plants, and mixtures long before modern science. A knowledge so advanced that for thousands of years, no one else seemed able to replicate it. AI revealed what humans alone had overlooked. Puma Punku was more than stone. It was a laboratory, a workshop, and a test of human ingenuity encoded in every block. And the most disturbing part? That ingenuity vanished, forgotten, lost, waiting silently to be rediscovered and challenging everything we assume about the timeline of human technological progress. water, sound, and control, not decoration. Puma Punku is far more than a collection of massive stones. Every block, every channel, every gap seems to serve a purpose beyond simple construction. AI-based simulations have revealed something that changes the way we think about this site entirely. Hidden beneath the plateau are water channels, intricately carved but long overlooked. These are not the kind of random drainage paths that ancient builders might add to keep rainwater from pooling. No, these channels were engineered to guide water through precise routes, at controlled speeds, creating predictable flows across the site. Simulations showed something even stranger. As water moved through these channels, it influenced pressure in the stones above. Vibrations spread across surfaces in ways that would have been felt, if not seen. Sound, too, traveled differently depending on where someone stood. Certain platforms amplified voices, letting a single speaker be heard across a wide area. Other sections muffled sound entirely, creating pockets of silence. The AI even highlighted how low tones would resonate in some spaces, while being completely absorbed in others. This combination of water movement and sound control hints at a purpose that goes beyond decoration or simple utility. Puma Punku may have been a sensory environment designed to manipulate perception and experience. Imagine standing on one platform and hearing a distant voice clearly, while nearby spaces remain eerily quiet. Every step, every movement would have been experienced differently, depending on where a person was allowed to stand. Further analysis uncovered a pattern in movement itself. The AI detected narrowing corridors, pathways that became more restrictive as one approached the central zones. Open spaces disappear, giving way to confined passages that limit mobility and direct human flow. This wasn't accidental design, it was deliberate. Those who built Puma Punku understood human behavior, guiding movement to control who could see, hear, or access certain areas. The implication is unsettling. This wasn't a temple meant for everyone, a public space open to worshippers or visitors. Instead, it may have been a controlled center, where access to knowledge, power, or ritual was carefully managed. Individuals moving through the site would encounter restrictions, auditory experiences, and water-induced vibrations, all orchestrated to reinforce hierarchy or influence perception. Even more intriguing, the AI simulation suggests that the interaction of water, sound, and structural layout could have created experiences that were both mesmerizing and intimidating. People entering the space might have felt a sense of awe, disorientation, or reverence, all guided by the engineers of the site. It wasn't just stone. It was architecture designed to shape human experience itself. What makes this discovery particularly haunting is that we are only beginning to understand it. Every test, every simulation adds evidence that Puma Punku was far more sophisticated than imagined. It wasn't just a building. It was a carefully crafted environment, controlling water, amplifying or silencing sound, and directing human behavior with precision. Those who built it were not only master engineers, they were observers of people, orchestrators of experience, and perhaps keepers of secrets too powerful to share with everyone. The timeline. Problem. No one likes to talk about this is the part that really makes you stop and think. Puma Punku isn't just unusual because of its massive stones or precision engineering. The real shock comes when you look at the timeline. AI models analyzing the site in detail suggested that the level of engineering sophistication seen here doesn't match the commonly accepted age of the site. And we're not talking about a few decades or centuries. The discrepancy stretches into thousands of years. At first, researchers questioned the AI. Could the model be wrong? Was there an error in the input data? But repeated simulations and cross-checks confirmed the result. Something about Puma Punku's design, its geometry, and its astronomical alignments simply didn't fit the timeline textbook's claim. The angles of the stones, the orientation of the platforms, and the alignment with celestial events like solstices and equinoxes pointed to sky positions from a much earlier epoch. Correcting for Earth's axial precession, which shifts the stars slowly over millennia, made the alignments precise. But precision came from a time far older than historians typically assign to the Tiwanaku civilization. This doesn't automatically mean that some lost advanced civilization existed. It does mean, however, that the builders of Puma Punku possessed knowledge far older than expected knowledge that somehow survived unbroken through generations. And here is where it gets unsettling. Knowledge that persists while societies rise and fall is tricky. Without written records, without obvious transmission systems, how did these advanced techniques and astronomical insights survive? Somehow this knowledge was inherited quietly, perhaps through oral traditions, apprenticeship, or secretive communities. It implies a continuity of understanding, even when civilizations changed, crumbled, or disappeared. Puma Punku starts to look less like a ruined city and more like a deliberate checkpoint for knowledge, a place where advanced understanding of engineering, astronomy, and materials science was preserved. Then, for reasons we may never fully know, it was partially dismantled or hidden. The stones, the alignments, the platforms all hold hints of a story that doesn't fit neatly into modern historical narratives. AI didn't uncover aliens, UFOs, or supernatural forces. What it revealed is far more unsettling. Humans, thousands of years ago, could achieve precision and understanding that challenge what we think about historical progress. And that, more than anything, is the puzzle that makes Puma Punku so unnerving. A site where the past speaks quietly, but its message disrupts everything we thought we knew. What Puma Punku really represents. So, what does Puma Punku really tell us? Looking at it from the surface, it's easy to fall into familiar explanations: aliens, lost civilizations, or supernatural intervention. These ideas are dramatic and exciting, but AI analysis gives a far more unsettling picture. The truth isn't out of this world, it's grounded in human capability, knowledge, and, strangely enough, human loss. The data shows that the builders had an extraordinary grasp of materials, forces, and engineering principles. Every stone, every joint, every alignment seems deliberate. The blocks were designed to handle stress. Water channels guided not just flow but sound, and astronomical alignments required careful observation over generations. AI simulations confirmed these weren't random features. They were components of a carefully thought-out system that combined physics, environmental planning, and social control. What makes it disturbing is that this level of intelligence and planning seems to vanish after the site was built. The techniques, knowledge, and methods don't appear in subsequent cultures in the same area. Puma Punku becomes a monument not just of achievement, but of loss, a stark reminder that human mastery isn't always cumulative. Knowledge can be created and perfected, then simply disappear. This is why Puma Punku unsettles people more than the alien theories ever could. Aliens are easy to dismiss. They exist outside our history, outside our comprehension. But lost human mastery? That's personal. It forces us to confront the possibility that our ancestors might have reached heights of understanding we barely recognize today. That somewhere in time, humans could manipulate stone, water, sound, and space with precision that seems impossible, and then forgot how. And there's more. This site doesn't just showcase technical skill. It may contain warnings, encoded messages, or principles meant to survive time. Perhaps the original builders knew that knowledge could be lost. Perhaps Puma Punku itself was a way to preserve a record in stone of what humans could achieve when they truly understood their environment and worked in harmony with it. AI can't tell us the intentions behind the construction, but it reveals that every detail has a purpose. The design, the materials, the placement, even the controlled access to certain areas, all intelligence points applied with foresight. So the question lingers. If ancient humans could accomplish this, what else have we misunderstood? What skills or knowledge disappeared before they could shape future generations? And more hauntingly, what lessons or warnings did they embed in sites like Puma Punku, waiting for future humans to rediscover and comprehend? Puma Punku isn't magic. It's human brilliance achieved, preserved, and then almost erased. And maybe that's the real mystery, the one that makes this ancient plateau feel both awe-inspiring and deeply unsettling. Puma Punku no longer stands as a puzzle of impossible stones. It stands as a reminder of how fragile knowledge really is. AI didn't solve this mystery by adding fantasy. It solved it by removing comfort spaceships. No visitors from the sky. Just humans skilled, focused, and capable of things we rarely credit them for. And that's what makes this discovery unsettling. Because once we accept that ancient people could engineer at this level, the past stops being simple. It becomes complex, layered, and unfinished. History turns from a straight line into a loop with missing chapters. Puma Punku may not be a monument to power. It may be a monument to loss of methods, loss of understanding, loss of respect for what came before. If this story made you rethink what you know about the ancient world, let us know in the comments. Your thoughts matter here. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who still thinks the past was primitive. More stories like this are coming, and the next one might challenge history even further. Stay curious, stay questioning, and we'll see you in the next video.